Okay, moving on now to the other big story, the very strong words coming in from the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He is in Sabarmati. He is there for the centenary celebrations of the ashram. He was in Ahmedabad. But a strong message coming out there from the Prime Minister on the spate of attacks and the rise in crimes, all in the name of cow protection. Let's just listen in to what the Prime Minister said.
उस संतान, उस बालक की मृत्यु अपने पैर के नीचे हुई है, इसे पीड़ा के मात्र उस गाय ने अपना शरीर छोड़ दिया। एक बालक की मृत्यु के पश्चाताप में गाय को बलिदान देता हुआ मैंने बचपन में देखा है। वो दृश्य आज भी मेरे सामने जिंदा है। गाय माता के लिए आप कल्पना कर सकते हैं कि विनोबा जी उस समय की सरकारों के खिलाफ जीवन के अंत तक वो लड़ते रहे, अनेक बार अनशन किए, गौरक्षा के लिए किए, गौ भक्ति के लिए किए। भारत का संविधान भी हमें उसका महत्व समझाता है, लेकिन क्या किसी इंसान को मारने का हमें हक मिल जाता? क्या ये गौ भक्ति है? क्या ये गौरक्षा है? गाय की रक्षा, गौ की भक्ति महात्मा गांधी और विनोबा भावे से बढ़कर के कोई नहीं होता। अगर गाय की भक्ति करनी है, गाय की रक्षा करनी है, तो गांधी जी ने और विनोबा जी ने हमें उत्तम राह दिखाई। उसी रास्ते पर देश को चलना ही पड़ेगा, उसी में देश का कल्याण। लेकिन क्या किसी इंसान को मारने का हमें हक मिल जाता? क्या ये गौ भक्ति है? क्या ये गौरक्षा है? पूज्य बापू का रास्ता ये नहीं हो सकता। विनोबा भावे का जीवन हमें यह संदेश नहीं देता है। और इसलिए साबरमती आश्रम की शताब्दी के पर्व पर और पूज्य श्रीमद रामचंद्र जी के 150 वर्ष मनाते हैं, तब हर हिंदुस्तानी के दिलो दिमाग में ये हमारे मूलभूत संस्कार, हमारी मूलभूत परंपराएं, अहिंसा, ये हम लोगों का जीवन धर्म रहा। हम कैसे आपात हो रहे हैं? डॉक्टर को मार दें, अकस्मात हो जाए, ड्राइवर को मार दें, गाय के नाम पर इंसान को मार दें।
Okay, so that was the Prime Minister who spoke just a short while back, giving out a very strong message. And, he was speaking from Ahmedabad. He's there to inaugurate the Sabarmati Ashram centenary celebrations, but the Prime Minister really coming out there with some hard-hitting words. Interestingly, it's coming at a time when the nation has been so furious with the kind of attacks that one has got to witness. It has been gripped by a spate of mob attacks, and the Prime Minister coming out there saying that killing people in the name of Gau Bhakti or Gauraksha is absolutely unacceptable. In fact, he even said that we are a land of non-violence and nobody can go around killing in the name of Gauraksha. It's not the first time that the Prime Minister has broken his silence on cow vigilantes in the country who have been running amok across and creating mayhem, even taking lives of innocent people. But the Prime Minister there who came out with a very strong message. National Affairs Editor Rahul Srivastava is joining us now for more. You know, Rahul, a very, very important message being sent out by the Prime Minister, and it's coming just a day after we saw those massive protests across the nation where people came out on the street protesting against the lynching incident. This is not the first time, but a very important message being reiterated by the Prime Minister again.
Yes, what one can certainly say that if you see what the Prime Minister has said, that killing people in the name of Gaur Bhakti is not acceptable. Now, this is what the Prime Minister has said earlier too. In fact, right after India Today's investigations, the Prime Minister has come out and said that most of the people who are pretending to be cow vigilantes or Gaurakshaks are actually extortionists. That's what it virtually amounted to. What the Prime Minister's message is very strong, but it seems that within down till the last denominator, the signal needs to be sent out by not just the Prime Minister, because such has been what you can say the political tone which has been set since, if we see the run-up to the UP elections, that somewhere there has been a slight infusion of what one can say the strong Hindutva messaging, and that messaging perhaps need to be curbed. Because somewhere what it has done, whatever happened in the last 2 years, it has put in a seed of suspicion as far as various communities and castes is concerned. And that is why one can say is that the only way possible, yes, definitely the Prime Minister's strong words are definitely going to serve some kind of a warning. But the law and order crackdown, especially in states like Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, others where
Rahul,
BJP
if I may just interrupt you, Priyanka Chaturvedi from the Congress is also with me on the broadcast. Priyanka, good afternoon. Thanks so much for speaking to us. How hopeful are you that, you know, we will see such attacks being over after those kind of words coming in from the Prime Minister? It's not the first time that, you know, he has spoken out and said that these are not, they are nothing but anti-socials masquerading as Gaurakshaks, and he will not have any of this, because even after the initial statements, those attacks have continued unabated.
Absolutely. So firstly, any citizen in this country which is against lynching and who would want law and order to prevail would be hopeful that better sense would prevail in the government and we would see more action taking place and not just paying lip service to what is happening across the nation. We saw the Prime Minister condemn this during his town hall event as well. But when we saw, we didn't see anything changing on ground. We still see lynching happening. We still see people coming and defending it on national television, people coming and speaking up, making it a majority versus minority issue. So this is something that the Prime Minister, not just the Prime Minister speaking about it, he should hold his Chief Ministers accountable. In various states, we have seen no action being taken as far as lynching is concerned. In case of Elu Khan, we still don't have the accused apprehended, and it doesn't seem to be the priority for that state government. So if they need to really curb this, and if the Prime Minister is really keen on ensuring that his words turn into action, he should start holding the state governments accountable. You should have the Home Minister seeking reports from various states where these reports have come, these incidents have happened, to come forward with the report and ask them what action has been taken. So this cannot be taken lying down, and by paying mere lip service, we cannot just let go of the government, saying that now that the Prime Minister has spoken, everything will be well again.
All right, Priyanka, thanks so much. And, Rahul, that's the pertinent point, isn't it? That how much of an action will we see being implemented on the ground? Because, a lot needs to be done on the ground in various states to rein in such people, to rein in such anti-social elements, and even rein in, politicians who have been making a lot of provocative statements and inciting people.
Yes, Avantika, what one can certainly say is that what kind of a deterrent the state is creating against those people who are committing such offences. Now, if you see the crimes against women or crime against the socially backward people like Dalits, somewhere the police and the administrative structure has always been extremely wanting as far as their action against those who are acting against or being violent to these groups are concerned. And this is one typical example that somewhere within these sections who are pretending to be cow vigilantes are attacking people without only on the basis of suspicion, but there is also definitely a color of communalism in it, and they are attacking primarily because of a knowledge that somewhere the administration might not deal with a certain amount of firmness which is required, simply because they are part or closer or with some kind of an umbilical exists between the state government and these people. And perhaps that is the umbilical that the state governments will have to cut if and if only such crimes have to be curbed. Otherwise, if you notice what has happened in the last 24 hours, is that from just some groups protesting against the government and the kind of acts which have happened in the past, now civil groups and also the armed army is joining. There is a sense of concern that is it just because of somebody's name or social identity, are people going to be attacked on the basis of certain amount of suspicion? That's where the real worry for the government lies, because it undoes a lot of Sabka Vikas, Sabka Saath kind of slogans that Prime Minister Modi and his government has tried to build over the last 3 years.
And you know, this trend that one is getting to witness is also detrimental to the government's image, and also, you know, it just goes against all the good work that they have been doing as well, isn't it, Rahul?
Yes, it definitely does. If you see, after the Bihar loss, the government has done a major tweaking and shifting of gears as far as its policies directed towards the poor is concerned. The government has tried to maintain a very strong parallel path as far as the reform path is concerned, and also the policies for the poor. Now, if the Prime Minister Modi is going to talk about India as a nation for tomorrow, as a nation which is going to emerge as the top nations in the world, somewhere at outside India and within domestically, somewhere Prime Minister will have to ensure that the cadres or the BJP or those who are pretending to be cow vigilantes somewhere needs to be curbed.
Absolutely. Just stay on with me, Rahul. We are also joined by Shehzad Poonawalla, a noted activist and lawyer as well. Mr. Poonawalla, good afternoon. Thanks so much for speaking to us. Your comments, you know, the Prime Minister once again breaking his silence, saying that none of this is acceptable. You know, killing in the name of Gau Bhakti, Gauraksha is absolutely unpardonable. How hopeful are you that, you know, this would have an impact on the kind of violence that one has been witness to of late?
Well, I'm not very optimistic, because the Prime Minister's words will not bring back the life of Pehlu Khan. It will not bring back the life of Akhlaq. The problem is that the Prime Minister gave us empty words even after Roona, and so many lynchings took place after that. As you know, that we have gone to the Supreme Court in this matter, Tehseen Poonawalla and I, and the Supreme Court has issued notices to Mr. Modi's government, to Rajasthan, Jharkhand, where these lynchings are happening. Not one state government or central government has come on record to say that yes, we are against this and we will try to go.
Okay, we are also joined by Union Minister Babul Supriyo now, who's on the phone line. Sir, thanks so much for speaking to us. I just spoke to Priyanka Chaturvedi from the Congress. We're getting in, you know, other activists' voices who are not really sounding very optimistic and hopeful that the Prime Minister's tough talk will lead to any action on the ground.
Well, you see, I'm not amused by I'm not surprised that they are not being optimistic, because that's exactly what their political stand is. They cannot be optimistic about what the Prime Minister is saying. So let's leave that apart. I think hate crimes, killings in the name of religion, caste, creed, it happens all over the world. It happens in America, it doesn't happen in London, France, everywhere it happens. In India, it's a deplorable thing, and I think I very clearly remember being present during the 2-year celebration of the Modi government, when he had very clearly said that criminals, miscreants, they play Gaurakshaks during the day, and then they're into criminal activities in the night. So that this is their way of camouflaging their criminal activities.
Yes, and those comments were made, sir, by the Prime Minister last year, where he clearly said that these are the handiwork of anti-social elements masquerading, you know, as Gaurakshaks. They are not really, they're actually goons. They're someone who need to be punished. But we haven't really seen much action, I mean, on the ground. Don't you think a lot more effort needs to be made by various state governments to check these anti-social elements, to put them behind the bars?
I completely agree with you, and I think that there have been incidents where you know, such incidents have taken place, where we fight about cow and pork, and the guy who is eating cow gets killed, and it immediately gets connected to BJP. So I would request everyone to rise above politics, see it as a law and order conditions and less of a political situation. I think the message from the Prime Minister today is not only very stern but very clear, blatant, and if there has been any lack on the part of law and order by any state, BJP or non-BJP, I'm sure people will stand up and take a note, and I'm sure he's looking into it very seriously, and that's the reason his words have resonated with so much of resolute and probably a little bit of anger in the way he said it. I have seen it and I'm very proud that he...
And Babu Supriyo, sir, we saw that anger. It was pretty much evident yesterday. Did you see images of thousands and thousands of people across the country, taking to the streets, voicing their angst, their anger, their frustration over the kind of, hate crimes that one has been, hearing of?
Yesterday's incident was something very different. The news articles I've read it everywhere. It was the altercation that started with seat arrangements, someone getting a seat or not, and then getting into teenagers getting into a fight. So I don't know with what intention they would want to create a furor and have people in Karachi give India a certificate of being secular. So there are political motives behind it. Why didn't they do this?
Why do you call them political motives? Because the charge by the opposition against your government is that hate crimes against the marginalized, against Dalits and Muslims have only peaked.
When you see, before the Bihar elections, we have seen some very, very smart political award-wafty things, Natak of award-wafty. During the Delhi elections, I'm a new politician. My advantage is I do not come with baggage. I'm not talking about history. I'm not bringing in 10 years or 15 years. During the Delhi elections, I myself saw how a criminal activity, a burglary in a church, was being attributed to BJP vigilantes. So these are stuff that are being done in India with a political motive. And I will look at what was done yesterday, including Karachi in that entire protest, a very, very cheap publicity stunt, because the same could have been done when our soldiers are mutilated on the border. You don't make this small isolated India.
So just stay with me. Shehzad Poonawalla is also with us and he also would like to make a comment. Yes, go ahead.
Avantika, with utmost humility, the Honourable Minister, the Supreme Court has issued a notice to your government, sir. Is the Supreme Court politically motivated on Gaurakshaks matter? Second point, sir, when Mr. Mahesh Sharma, your colleague, puts a flag on the killers of Akhlaq whose son was on the Air Force, and the Prime Minister who tweets about London to whatnot does not say a word about him or his killing, and when the Rajasthan government calls Pehlu Khan's killing a demise, I think your silence spoke more than anything else, sir. And now these empty words will mean nothing unless you bring in a law to prevent these lynchings. And we are asking of the government, why not have a lynching law, anti-lynching law, Masuka, which will safeguard your RSS workers in Kerala?
Yes, Mr. Poonawalla, let the minister respond. Let him respond.
Yes. Bringing in RSS and everything. That is exactly what I'm saying. The law and order isn't safe. It's about the implementation. If there has been lack anywhere, I think that's why the Prime Minister has spoken the language that he has spoken. And let me be very honest with you. Let me be very honest with you. The Supreme Court has issued their notices to the government, and I'm sure the Supreme Court is not politicized. Let's not get into that debate.
Minister Supriyo, no one is taking away the very strong message that has been sent out by the Prime Minister today. I mean, otherwise then the opposition will accuse him of being silent, of not commenting. So today, he has taken the opportunity to condemn the incidents of violence. But the feeling is that there is a sense of insensitivity. The feeling is that the government is, compassionless when it comes about the incidents of crimes that one has been hearing of. How do you address those concerns? And the questions that are being asked of the government is what concrete measures are being taken on the ground in various states to rein in these antisocial elements, to punish them, to make them face the law.
See, the law is in place. The law already set subject. It's not about BJP states or non-BJP states. I'm sure with the message today, probably things have not been done the way the things should have been. Why the Prime Minister has to speak up today. Otherwise, why would you explain? How would you explain the Prime Minister actually, emanating anger while he was saying those sentences? Definitely, he's not happy with certain incidents that have taken place in recent times. Let's be logical. Number one, you can hate a BJP leader. You can. I know about the Mahesh Sharma incident. You can debate that. You can You can.
But why is that message not percolating? That's the question. Why is the message from the Prime Minister not going to the other ministers? Why is it that ministers in the government have been often, seen and heard inciting violence, making such provocative statements? So why not just check those ministers as well?
Well, let me tell you. After the UP elections, in a meeting, the Prime Minister said that मैं साष्टांग प्रणाम करता हूँ उन लोगों को जिन्होंने अपना मुंह बंद रखा है. The message is very clear. It's a huge country. We have several political leaders. They are going to make statements which may not go with the narrative of a particular political party. Hate them. You can lambast them for not using the appropriate language, but then don't always blame the Prime Minister or the BJP for it. Every party has people who gets into the foot in the mouth syndrome. So you can, but don't keep the country first at least. What are you trying to prove? Are you trying to do a protest of a lynching in India, in Karachi? I think that is atrocious, and that does not paint the right picture of the country, of India in the world. Don't do that. You are most welcome to, use strong words against anyone. That's my point.
All right. Babul Supriyo and Shehzad Poonawalla, thank you both for joining us. We'll continue to get you all, more reactions on the very strong message that was sent out by the Prime Minister.